What no one tells you about getting rich. The secret. The Bible reveals the power of growing in silence. There's a reason why some people seem to rise effortlessly in life, while others remain stuck in the same cycle of struggle. It's not just about working harder or even being more talented. No, there's a hidden principle, deeply rooted in Scripture, that most people overlook. And today, you're going to discover it. Most people make one fatal mistake that keeps them from achieving true prosperity. They talk too much. They announce their plans before they're even set in motion. They crave validation, hoping others will approve of their journey. But what does this really accomplish? Nothing. Instead of progress, they attract unnecessary opinions, distractions, and sometimes even resistance. Think about this. When you plant a seed, does it grow instantly? Of course not. First, it stays hidden beneath the soil. In silence, it develops strong roots. Then, when the time is right, it breaks through the ground, strong, unshakable, and ready to flourish. That's exactly how God's blessings work. But here's the problem. Most people want the luxury of success without the discipline of silence. They seek the riches of life without following the wisdom God has laid out in His Word. They want financial freedom, but don't want to master their finances. They chase big business dreams, but won't surrender their journey to God. And that's exactly why many never see true growth. Because God operates in silence. While the world seeks noise, attention, and quick results, His most profound transformations happen behind the scenes. Today, I'm going to show you how to apply this biblical principle to your life and finances. But be warned, what you'll hear might challenge everything you've been taught about success. This is a message most people won't tell you, but it has the power to change your life if you let it. So stay with me until the end, because the most important part is coming later. Before we continue, if you want to gain deeper insights into God's financial wisdom and grow in prosperity, His way, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. That way, you won't miss the next steps on your journey to true financial freedom. Now let's dive into the first step, why seeking external validation is one of the biggest obstacles to your growth. Stop seeking external validation. Before we dive in, I want you to do something important. I know your time is valuable, but you are here because you are committed to the love of God and His wisdom. And because the Word of God has the power to transform lives, I want you to declare this truth in the comments right now. I trust that God will give me victory to overcome every obstacle. Comment it now, because your words have power, and by declaring this, you are speaking life over your future. I will personally go through and give a heart to each comment. Now let's talk about something that might be holding you back without you even realizing it. How many times have you shared your plans with someone, hoping for their approval or encouragement, only to be met with doubt, criticism, or even jealousy? You start with excitement, telling a friend or family member about your dreams, but instead of support, you hear, "Are you sure that's a good idea? That sounds risky." People like us don't succeed in things like that. And just like that, your excitement fades. Your confidence is shaken. Instead of moving forward boldly, you hesitate, you question yourself, and sometimes you even abandon your plan altogether. But let me tell you something. This is exactly why God calls us to grow in silence. The biblical principle of silence. The Bible is filled with examples of people who moved in silence before God revealed His plans for them. Take Nehemiah, for example. When he set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, he didn't go around announcing his intentions to everyone. In Nehemiah 2:12, he says, "I set out during the night with a few others. I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem." Why did he keep it to himself? Because he understood that not everyone would support his mission. He knew that some would mock him, discourage him, or even try to stop him. He moved quietly, trusting in God instead of seeking approval from others. And that's exactly what you need to do in your own life. The problem with seeking validation. Seeking validation is dangerous because it places your faith in people instead of God. And here's the truth. People are unreliable. Some will discourage you out of fear, others will project their own insecurities onto you, and some, unfortunately, will resent your ambition because it reminds them of everything they haven't done themselves. This is why Jesus himself warned about sharing too much with the wrong people. In Matthew 7:6 he says, "Do not cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." What does this mean for you? It means that your dreams, your business ideas, your financial goals, they are pearls, they are valuable, and you can't afford to let others trample on them with doubt, negativity, or jealousy. How to break free from the need for approval. So how do you move forward without constantly seeking validation? Here's the key. You must learn to seek God's approval above all else. Instead of asking, "Will people support me?" ask yourself, "Is this aligned with God's will?" Instead of thinking, "What will people say?" remind yourself, "What has God already spoken over my life?" And instead of waiting for someone else to give you permission to succeed, remember, God has already given you everything you need. A simple action step. Here's something practical you can do starting today. The next time you feel the urge to share your plans with someone, pause. Ask yourself, is this person truly rooting for me, or am I just looking for their approval? Spend time in prayer, seeking God's direction instead of people's opinions. Keep your progress private until you have firm results. Let your success be the announcement, not your intentions. Because when God blesses you, it will be undeniable. People won't have to be told. They will see it with their own eyes. Now let's move forward. You've learned why seeking external validation can be dangerous, but what about the hidden dangers that come when you share your financial plans too soon? That's what we're going to talk about next. The silence that protects your strategy. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve financial success effortlessly while others struggle for years without making real progress? It's not always about how hard they work or how much money they start with. The real difference often lies in something much deeper, their ability to move in silence. Most people make the mistake of exposing their financial plans too soon. They get excited about a new opportunity, a business idea, or a strategy for getting out of debt, and before they've even taken the first step, they start telling everyone about it. But here's what they don't realize. Not everyone who listens to your dreams wants you to succeed. Some people will smile to your face but secretly hope you fail. Others will fill your mind with doubt and fear, even if they don't mean to. And sometimes, even those who genuinely love you, family, friends, mentors, will project their own insecurities onto you. This is why the Bible warns us about speaking too soon. Proverbs 21:23 says, "Whoever guards his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble." Your plans, especially your financial strategies, are fragile in the early stages. Like a young tree just starting to grow, they need protection from harsh winds. If you expose them too soon, they can be uprooted before they have a chance to take hold. The power of moving quietly. Look at the way God works. He is a master strategist. Many of his greatest plans were carried out in silence before being revealed to the world. Consider Jesus. He spent 30 years in preparation before beginning his public ministry. He didn't announce his mission the moment he was born. He grew in wisdom, in strength, in obedience. And when the time was right, his impact was undeniable. If Jesus, the Son of God, understood the importance of timing and discretion, how much more should we apply this principle to our own lives? The same applies to your finances, business, and personal goals. If you are working on improving your financial situation, whether it's getting out of debt, starting a new investment, or building a business, learn to move in silence. Why silence creates strength? When you share your plans too soon, you invite unnecessary resistance. Instead of focusing on execution, you waste time defending your ideas, explaining your strategies, and dealing with negative energy from others. But when you keep your moves private, you protect your vision from negativity and doubt. Stay focused on action instead of approval. Give your plans time to develop before outside forces can interfere. Think about some of the wealthiest, most successful people in the world. They don't talk about their every move. They build in silence, and by the time the world notices, their success is already established. This isn't about secrecy, it's about wisdom. The book of Ecclesiastes reminds us there is a time to be silent and a time to speak. Ecclesiastes 3:7. If you are working on something important, especially in the area of finances and business, learn to recognize which season you are in. If you're still in the building phase, stay quiet. Let your results speak for you in due time. Applying this principle in your life. If you're serious about growing in prosperity and managing your wealth in a way that honors God, start applying this today. Instead of announcing your next big move, work on it in silence. Instead of looking for validation, seek wisdom through prayer and scripture. Instead of defending your dreams, let your success be the proof that God's hand is on your life. Because when you trust in God's timing, His strategy, and His provision, you don't need to convince anyone of your success. It will be undeniable. And speaking of strategy, there's something even deeper that most people overlook when it comes to building wealth the right way. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you do it. That's exactly what we're going to discuss next. Small habits create great wealth. Most people believe that financial success comes from one big breakthrough, a sudden business deal, a massive investment, or an unexpected windfall. But the truth is, true prosperity is not built overnight. It is the result of small, consistent habits applied over time. The problem is that many people chase quick riches instead of building long-term wealth. They look for shortcuts, hoping to make money fast, instead of mastering the daily discipline of wise financial management. But here's the reality. God blesses faithfulness in the little things. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever is faithful with very little will also be faithful with much." This is why so many people struggle with finances. They pray for more money, but they haven't been faithful with what they already have. They ask for business success, but don't practice good stewardship in their personal spending. If you are waiting for a financial miracle, start by asking yourself this: are you managing well what God has already placed in your hands? The difference between riches and true wealth. There's a difference between having riches and having wealth. Riches are temporary. A person can have a lot of money but no discipline, and they will lose it quickly. Wealth is lasting. It is built through wise decisions, financial discipline, and God's blessing. The book of Proverbs teaches us this principle. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Proverbs 13:11. This means that true financial success doesn't come from sudden events. It comes from daily habits. The power of daily financial discipline. Think about it like this. A person who spends a little more than they earn each month will slowly fall into debt. A person who saves a little, invests wisely, and spends carefully will slowly build prosperity. At first, the difference seems small. But over time, the gap between these two people becomes enormous. One will struggle financially for years. The other will grow in prosperity without stress. This is why some people always seem to be chasing money while others have money working for them. The Bible warns us in Proverbs 21:20, "The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down." This is a direct lesson in financial discipline. Wealthy people store up. Foolish people spend everything they get. How to start building prosperity today. If you want to start seeing a difference in your finances, begin with small, consistent changes. Track every dollar. Know exactly where your money is going. Most people don't fail because they don't make enough, but because they don't manage what they have. Save before you spend. Treat saving like an expense, something non-negotiable. Invest wisely. Even small investments, when made consistently, will grow over time. Avoid unnecessary debt. The Bible warns us in Proverbs 22:7. The borrower is a slave to the lender. Live within your means. Give generously. God blesses those who are faithful in tithing and generosity. Malachi 3:10 reminds us that when we honor him with our wealth, he opens the floodgates of heaven. These habits may seem small, but they build the foundation for true wealth. God rewards faithfulness. Many people ask God for prosperity, but they refuse to take responsibility for their actions. They want luxury without discipline. They want riches without wisdom. But God doesn't work that way. He blesses those who prove they can handle more. He increases the resources of those who manage well what they already have. If you apply these principles consistently, you will see a transformation in your finances. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen. If this message spoke to you, take a second to like this video so more people can learn these powerful truths about biblical wealth. Now you may be wondering, how do I keep going when I don't see immediate results? That's exactly what we're going to talk about next. The season of waiting, why most people give up too soon. One of the biggest reasons people fail in their journey to financial prosperity is impatience. They expect instant results. They want quick money, immediate success, and overnight wealth. But here's the hard truth. Wealth takes time to build. And this is exactly why so many people give up too soon. They start saving, but after a few months, they feel like it's not making a difference. They try to invest, but because they don't see immediate returns, they stop. They start a business with excitement, but the moment it doesn't take off as fast as they hoped, they quit. The Bible warns us about this mindset in Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Did you catch that? There is a proper time for the harvest, but most people never reach that time because they don't endure the waiting season. Why God allows a waiting period. God could give you instant riches if he wanted to. He could make your business explode overnight, but he doesn't because he cares more about your character than your comfort. In Deuteronomy 8:18 it says, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth and so confirms his covenant." God is not just interested in giving wealth, he wants you to develop the ability to manage it. Because without that ability, sudden prosperity will destroy you instead of bless you. This is why there's always a season of preparation. Before Joseph became the ruler of Egypt, he spent years in prison. Before David became king, he spent years tending sheep. Before Jesus began his public ministry, he spent 30 years in quiet preparation. The waiting period is not a punishment, it's preparation. The trap of comparison. Another reason people give up too soon is because they compare themselves to others. They see someone else buying a bigger house, driving a luxury car, or posting about their business success on social media, and they start to feel behind. They start questioning, why is it taking so long for me? But what they don't see is the silent work that came before that success. They don't see the years of discipline, the sacrifices, the quiet seasons where no one was watching. This is why the Bible tells us in Proverbs 14:30, "A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones." Comparing yourself to others will make you impatient. It will make you take shortcuts. It will make you quit something that God is still developing in you. How to stay faithful in the waiting season. Instead of asking, why is it taking so long? Ask yourself, what is God teaching me during this season? How can I be faithful with what I have right now? Am I truly trusting God's timing, or am I trying to force my own? Because here's what you need to know. If God has given you a vision for financial prosperity, it will happen. But only if you don't give up before your harvest comes. And speaking of harvests, what happens when all of your quiet work finally starts producing results? How do you handle that moment when your success is undeniable and people start noticing? That's exactly what we'll talk about next. Those who grow in silence surprise the world. Imagine this. A year from now, your finances have completely changed. You are no longer struggling with money problems. Your business is thriving. You have built a life of prosperity through wise decisions, consistency, and faith. But here's the thing, most people won't see the process that got you there. They won't see the late nights of discipline, the sacrifices, the silent prayers, and the moments you chose wisdom over impulsivity. All they will see is the result. This is why those who grow in silence always surprise the world. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6:6, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." The same principle applies to your financial success. The work you do in silence, the habits you build, the choices you make, the discipline you apply, all of it will lead to visible rewards in God's timing. The silence that precedes success. Look at some of the wealthiest, most influential people in history. They didn't announce their every move. They worked quietly, stayed focused, and let their results speak for themselves. Consider Joseph in the Bible. He was thrown into slavery, imprisoned unjustly, and forgotten by many. But during that time, he didn't waste energy seeking validation or explaining his dreams to those who wouldn't understand. Instead, he remained faithful. He worked diligently, trusted in God's process, and waited. And when the time was right, he was elevated to second in command over all of Egypt. That is what happens when you grow in silence. Why people struggle to move in silence. Most people struggle with this concept because they crave recognition. They want others to acknowledge their progress, to validate their choices, to admire their efforts. But the need for constant validation is a distraction. It shifts your focus from obedience to God to approval from people. And as we've already seen, the opinions of others will not build your wealth. Proverbs 29:25 warns us, "The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe." Those who constantly seek recognition often end up stuck. They waste energy explaining themselves instead of taking action. They let doubt from others shake their confidence. They get discouraged when people don't clap for them. But those who move in silence, they stay focused, they keep working, and in the end, they surprise everyone. What happens when you grow in silence? When you commit to this principle, several things will happen. You will attract less negativity because you are not constantly sharing your plans. You will experience less distraction because your energy is focused on action, not approval. You will gain more confidence because your success will be built on results, not opinions. And most importantly, you will be positioned for God's blessing. Psalm 37:7 reminds us, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him." God moves in his own time. When he sees you being faithful in private, he will elevate you in public. Your breakthrough will speak for itself. The world does not need to hear your plans. It will see your results. Your growing wealth will show. Your thriving business will prove itself. Your wise management of money will bring prosperity. Your dedication to God's principles will lead to blessings that no one can deny. And when that happens, people will wonder, how did they do it? But you will know the truth. You built it in silence, with wisdom, patience, and faith. If this message spoke to you, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You never know who is waiting for this word to break free from the cycle of seeking approval and start moving in divine wisdom. Now, before you go, There's one final truth you need to hear. Because knowing this principle is one thing, but applying it is what makes the real difference. Let's talk about that next. The decision that changes everything. Now let me ask you a serious question. Are you ready to stop talking about success and start living it? Because at this point you have a choice. You can either continue sharing your plans, seeking validation, and wondering why your finances and business are not growing the way you hoped, or you can apply what you've learned today, move in silence, build strong habits, stay faithful with what God has already given you, and watch as He transforms your wealth, prosperity, and financial future. The Bible makes it clear, those who are faithful in the small things will be entrusted with greater blessings. So I ask you again, will you be faithful? The question that changes everything. Take a moment to reflect. Have you been chasing approval instead of chasing wisdom? Have you been talking about your dreams more than actually working on them? Have you been expecting God to bless your finances but not managing what you already have wisely? Because here's the truth, real change only happens when you take action. God is ready to bless you. He is ready to lead you into a season of prosperity, but He will not do for you what you refuse to do for yourself. He has given you the wisdom, the principles, and the strategy. Now it's up to you to apply them. What happens next depends on you. Imagine looking back a year from now. Do you want to be in the same place? Struggling with the same financial issues? Making the same mistakes? Or do you want to look back and see how much you've grown, how much wealth you've built, and how much stronger your faith and finances have become? The decision is yours. If you're serious about this journey, don't just walk away from this message. Start applying it today. And before you go, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because this is just the beginning of what God wants to do in your life. If you want to keep learning how to grow in faith, finances, and biblical wisdom, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a life-changing lesson. Also, there's a video on the screen right now that will take you even deeper into this journey. Click on it and keep growing. And if this message impacted you, share it with someone who needs to hear this truth today. God is moving. The only question is, will you move with Him?